Hello everyone, welcome to section 2 of Python, and in this particular section I'm going to talk about some basics, and this is again basics of part 1. We'll have basics of part 2 also, and in this part 1 these are the topics that I'm going to talk about. First of all, I'll take a dig at the interpreted versus compiled, whether Python is an interpreted language or a compiled language. I have already spoken about it, but I'll go a little bit more deep into it. Not too much, but just show you that we can use Python both as interpreted and compiled language. Then I'll give you a very high level overview of class and objects because that is needed to understand the data types and other things also. There would be a separate section on class and objects that will be in Python Advanced. But here I'll just introduce you or give you a high level introduction on class and objects. Then I'll talk about the various data types that Python has and how variables are objects. So that's why we need to understand the classes and objects, because variables are also objects in Python. Then I'll talk about various data types like string, number, list, tuple, set and dictionary. And then I'll talk about how to convert one data type into another. So let's say if you have a string data type, how you can convert it to, let's say, integer or number. And then finally we'll see the memory allocation of variables, how variables are kept in memory. All right, so let's go ahead. The first one, before even starting anything, I wanted to give you a walkthrough on PyCharm and CLI because I'm going to use PyCharm extensively, and for this particular section I'll also use CLI, which is command line interface of Python. Let's use both of them and get an idea of how you can write codes in Python. Or if you do not want to use PyCharm, if you want to do a very small development activity or testing activity, then you can use CLI also. The PyCharm that I'm using is version 2024.3, and I'll go through all the options. I'll also set up Python interpreter in PyCharm. Then I'll create a file in PyCharm itself, and then I'll go to terminal, install some packages and execute program. So this is my PyCharm, and it will be similar in Windows and Mac and Ubuntu also. So PyCharm would be more or less similar. In Windows, the settings would be here. Like if you click on settings, you'll get multiple options. Same is the case with Mac also. But in Mac, you can go to settings from here as well. So I'll use this particular button because this is similar in Windows and Mac. Alright, so first of all, this is where you have the folder, and you can create files in this particular folder. And this is the project section. So if you click on this, the project section will go away, and if you click on this again, the project section would come. Now this is the folder, or this is the project rather. This is the location of the project. I have created a folder, and you can, if you want to import a new project, you can click on the file section and then click on open, and then open the folder that you want to open. This is where your folders and your programs and everything would be, kind of an explorer. This is where you would write the code, but right now it is not showing anything because I have not created any files. So let me go ahead and create a very basic file in the folder itself. So the name of this folder is tinayam_python. You can click on new, and these are the various options that we have. We can create a very basic file, which is not a Python file. You can create a scratch file. We can create a directory or a Python package, or we can create a Python file, HTML file, Jupyter notebook, etc. But what I'll do is that I'll create a Python file, and I'll name it as, let's say, test.py or just test, and press enter. So the test.py has been created, as you can see here, and this is the file, and here I can write code. So let's say print welcome to Python course by Tinayam. This is the code that I have written, and I can execute this. To execute, you have to click on this play button, and you have to see which program it is running, because you can create more files and you can have multiple programs. So while executing, just make sure that it is running the program or running the code that you intend to run. So now if you click on this, It'll see the output here. Welcome to Python course by Tinayam. This is where you'll see the output, and this is the file. So we'll be doing coding here, and if you want more real estate, you can click on folder and then get this entire section for just writing codes. Now apart from this, we have this terminal option also. So this is basically the command line. This is not Python terminal, this is a Unix terminal. You'll get this option in Windows also. In Windows also, the command line would be the Windows command line. Now here, the moment I press terminal, it is the command line given to me by Mac, which is a Unix based command line, and I have bash here. So bash program is running, or it is a shell command line. And in Ubuntu also you'll get a shell command line. But in Windows, the command line would be based on Windows. You can actually go into the Python CLI from here itself, just type Python 3 and it will go to the Python CLI. Now this is how you can actually work, and if you want to install, let's say, packages, you can do that. Remember, make sure that you see this .venv, because this is a virtual environment. And now if I install package, we'll use pip3 and install PySpark. So what I'm doing, I'll be installing the PySpark library from this terminal, and this PySpark library would be created in this virtual environment. So once it is created, you will see that this PySpark library would be there in this venv, not in the main base Python which is there in the operating system. So the installation is done, and you can see it has increased the number of folders. And if I click on library here, I should be able to see PySpark here. So PySpark was not there earlier, but right now I can see under site-packages. But if I go to the base Python, the operating system, the Python which is installed in the operating system, I'll not be able to see PySpark. In my case, it will be because I had already installed it. But in your case, you should not see PySpark in your base operating system. Similarly, I can install other libraries also, like if I install, let's say, PyMySQL, which is the MySQL library for Python. So it has been installed. Now you can see PyMySQL has also come here. So this is how we can use virtual environment. You can install our libraries in the virtual environment, and then you can port it to some other machine. We can zip this entire folder and port it. That is something we'll not do right now. So this is how we can use PyCharm. Now let's go to the command line interface. I'll not use this terminal. I'll use Mac terminal, or if you want, you can use Windows terminal also. So this is the terminal, and you'll have to type Python 3 and it would open the Python command line interface. I can type commands here, let's say print hello, and it will show you the output immediately. So that's why command line is useful to do a very small testing or try to figure out variables, operations, etc. So this is how command line works, and there is nothing else in command line. That's all. You just type Python 3 and it will take you to the command line. You write the commands, execute the commands, and that's all. And then if you have to come out, you'll have to type Control D. So it'll come out of the command line.